30 years versus the last 30 months. Dr. Brian Woods doesn't focus on the past, except to use it as a tool to serve the future. In other words, how can teachers use COVID to their advantage and, more importantly, to that of their students?
We thought at the time that we were utilizing technology in an effective way with young people. What we learned very quickly is we were badly underutilizing technology, and we could use it in ways that were a lot more effective. I also think we taught without meaning some things that are not particularly positive. What we unintentionally taught was that school could be done at your convenience. And we are still struggling with unlearning that lesson. We know that the Cadillac model for doing school with this age group of children is in person with a talented adult, period.
He is unwavering in his belief that expert teachers make a difference inside the classroom and out. But it's the outside that concerns him.
This is it. No, sir.
In Texas, we fight a lot of culture wars in our politics. Folks on both the far left and the far right of the political spectrum look at school districts as a place to fight the culture war that they choose to fight and to try to develop control. My ask, if it's appropriate to ask, is the reasonable people in the middle who've been pretty quiet, right, during this period of time, going back to masking and all those early COVID-related controversies, need probably to not be as quiet and to speak up.
Those who agree can follow his lead, and for those who don't or won't, his message is clear.
You go fight that fight somewhere else. I don't want you doing it in my kid's school. I don't want you distracting superintendents and cabinet members. I don't want you distracting principals and teachers with this stuff. Go do that somewhere else. The amount of turnover in school board members and superintendents in this state in the last 18 months is extraordinary. And when you ask most of them privately, this topic is a key reason why. They don't think that's an appropriate conversation to be having in the schoolhouse. None of us do.
When you look at the political landscape and everything, you're trying to figure out, how does all this balance? How does it balance between a school board who has a voice and teachers and parents who have voices? At some point in time, I think we're probably wondering, what about the students?
Yeah, right.
Shouldn't the students have a voice? And maybe they already do.
I think we're in that time. We need to be better at asking kids what they think. How we're going to teach reading needs to be left to the experts. How kids are learning reading best probably is a good place for student voice, right? We need to get a lot better of asking, where it's age appropriate, how would you learn this best?
30 years versus the last 30 months. Both time and a pandemic changed everything in education, and yet looking back, Dr. Brian Woods believes the key has never really changed at all.
You got to have a relationship. When you go in that classroom that is incredibly effective, right? You walk in and you know this is an awesome place for kids. What you see every single time is a meaningful relationship between that adult and those students.
So this lawsuit is about three things. One, the value of our kids. The law enforcement agencies, Daniel Defense, didn't care about the value of our kids. So if you ask why $27 billion, how much is one child worth?
This is the first time we are hearing from Charles Bonner, the attorney representing dozens of parents, children, school personnel, and survivors of the May 24th shooting. The group and Bonner have filed a $27 billion class action lawsuit seeking damages for permanent physical and psychological trauma stemming from that day.
A sobering start to a 76-page lawsuit. 10-year-old Eliana Torres' last words to her mom, Sandra: "I love you so much." The softball lover was one of the 21 killed May 24th, and now her mother is suing the city of Uvalde, UCISD, UCISD police, gun manufacturer Daniel Defense, Oasis Outback, where the shooter purchased the gun, and several other entities.
The overall approach to our lawsuit is with one goal in mind, is to make sure that Eliana didn't die in vain.
The first lawsuit produced from the mass shooting was filed in September by families of 3 children who survived. They too filed suit against law enforcement and the gun maker. Both lawsuits allege negligence and name several members of DPS and the Uvalde Police Department as defendants.
It was a complete failure, we're alleging, from the inaction of the community. The people that take this oath should have done more, and that's what we're alleging.
The lawsuit points to what attorney David Lopez calls marketing ploys by Daniel Defense, the company that manufactured the shooter's rifle, saying the mass shooting was, quote, enabled by the illegal, reckless, and negligent actions of the company. We reached out to Daniel Defense, but have yet to hear back. The suit, citing several examples of promotions from the company they say pander to younger audiences, including this snippet of a video that depicts military and law enforcement operations and gear encouraging civilians to, quote, use what they use, or like this post where the company tags a popular warfare video game. And there's the company's Instagram post from early 2020, rap musician Post Malone posing with one of their weapons. Lopez says they aren't clear just yet on what they're seeking for damages. First and foremost, he says, they want accountability.
This is a long, tedious road for us, and we're ready to plot it. And that's basically it. It's really about the loss of life. And that's so important not to forget.